Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, aka Creepy Beard Man. I know it's out of control. I swear I'll take care of it soon. Today I'm here with a bunch of packages I'm going to open up for you. Now all these packages were sent to me by various people who decided they either didn't want these things or they wanted me to have these things. And that was very cool of them, and I want to thank them for that, and I will as we go. But I do need to say that you don't ever have to do that. If anybody out there was ever thinking like, yeah, maybe I should send, I appreciate that, I really do, but it's absolutely not necessary for anyone to do that. So I just want to make sure you are aware of that. Nevertheless, these people obviously did send me these things, and I thought it would be very cool to share the contents of what's in them with all of you so you guys can all see the cool stuff they were nice enough to send. Now, the last time I did one of these videos, I had the evil Mrs. Claus, my girlfriend, in this video, or in the video back in, I think it was December 2014 is when I did one of these. And that video, of course, had very mixed reviews about having her in it. So she's here with us in spirit today instead of actually in the video. She actually got me something, and that would be this first package. Now, she didn't like have the, she basically bought this and had this sent to me, so it's kind of a cheat to include that in this video, but I thought, what the hell, is something, it's a mystery package, I don't really know what it is. Based on the texture and the fact that it says, you know, Once Upon a T, I'm assuming it's a t-shirt, but nevertheless. Let's go ahead and open it up and find out exactly what kind of shirt the evil Mrs. Claus sent me. Now, cheap plug for her, she has her own YouTube channel and her own Facebook fan page. I'm going to link both in the description, so if you're at all interested, go ahead and follow her. So yeah, alright. It is a black shirt, which is nice. It's XL, which is good. It's my size. She knows me well. So what kind of shirt? Something fell out. What was that? Got a little sticker. It says Once Upon a T. And a purple lifesaver. That's neat. Random. Oh, dude. Check this out. That is a really awesome Dreamcast shirt. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but that looks really, really cool. That's so cool. Thank you, dear Mrs. Evil Mrs. Claus. That was very nice of you. That's yeah, it's really cool. It's a Dreamcast shirt that shows like everything that came with the Dreamcast when it came out. Yeah, that's really neat. Well, thank you, Mrs. Claus. Moving on, we got a package here from a guy named Zack. This one's actually kind of funny. So Zack contacted my Facebook fan page, which is actually the Figure It Out Productions fan page. Now, I don't actually moderate that. Actually, the evil Mrs. Claus moderates that. And that's no secret. If you contact that page, she's the one who will reply, and she will sign her name as such, never pretending to be me, so that you know you're communicating with her, not with me. And in this case, Zack contacted her and said, hey, I want to send something to Adam. And so they figured this all out. But so she told me to expect a package, but he didn't want me to know what it was. He said, apparently I was not supposed to know what was inside this package. So I said, okay. So when it showed up, I had a package, and it just sat here with a bunch of these other things because, like I said, I wanted to have a bunch of stuff together so that it was an interesting video. And, so I waited a while. So he didn't want me to know what this was. And PlayLoad, February 2015, PlayLoad comes and goes, and he comments on the video and he goes, Adam, didn't you get an Atari 7800 game perhaps in the mail? And I was like, what? Oh, you must be Zack, because he had, I think his username had Zack with his last name in it. And I was like, so you sent us, basically, long story short, as you can tell, he revealed inadvertently what the secret item was supposed to be, and I thought that was kind of funny. So it's an Atari 7800 game, that much I know, but I don't know what game. So let's all go ahead and find out together, shall we? Open it up here. It is, and he wrapped it up too, it's a game called Food Fight. That's really cool. I don't actually get Atari 7800 games that often. First of all, they're not that common in general, but also, I don't know, I just don't pursue it that much. I do like that console a lot, but I don't know, maybe it's just because I never see the games. That's really cool to get a new one. And yeah, is Z Baker 330 is his username. He put it on there in pen, so I have to assume that's from him. Yeah, that's really cool. Food Fight for the Atari 7800. Definitely a game I did not have, so it's really neat. Thank you very much to Zack for that. Moving on here. We got this package. This comes from, I think it's from Germany because it says Deutsche Post, which would imply Germany. This was sent to me by a guy named Henry. He contacted me after seeing a PlayLoad, I think it was either in January or December, and he heard me mention a game I was looking for, but I couldn't get it because it wasn't released in North America. It only came out in Europe, as far as I know anyway. Well, it came out in Japan too, but I wanted the European version. And he said, hey, I got an extra copy of it. Do you want it? And I was like, are you sure? You really don't have to do that. And he was like, yeah, I really don't need this, so I'm going to go ahead and send it to you if you want it. And I was like, well, all right. So without further ado, let's go ahead, open it up, and go ahead and see it here. And I'm excited. This is pretty neat that I finally have this item. And it feels like he also sent some other stuff because it shouldn't be this big. But we'll see. And this is packaged pretty well. Just bear with me for a moment. Cut through there. Don't want to stab myself. One day that's going to happen. You guys all know it. And one day I'm going to get cut. Oh, wow. He sent a Milka Bar. Milka Bars are the best. This is now becoming apparently a tradition. Is all you lovely Europeans seem to send me a lot of candy to get me even bigger man jugs. Yeah, these are really good. Milka Bars with butter biscuits. Yeah, it's an insanely good candy bar. And he also, there it is, the game, Puyo Puyo Fever for the PS2. Now the cool thing about this game is, the reason I wanted this was that this is one of the handful of true multiplats in the 6th generation. This came out on the Dreamcast, which a lot of people forget was a 6th gen console, and that this game even came out on it, but also came out on the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. But Sega, being the weird-ass company that they are, they only released it in certain regions on certain consoles. So in North America, we only got it for the GameCube. In Europe, they got it obviously for the PS2, and they also got it for the Xbox. They might have got the GameCube version, that I'm not sure about. Japan got it for the Dreamcast and the PS2. I don't know if they had, I don't think they had the Xbox version, and I don't know if they had the GameCube version. But either way, my point is, it was on all 4 of them, it was just spread out very oddly, and this was the only one I didn't have. I think it was also released on the PlayStation, or the PSP, the PlayStation Portable, but I don't really care about that because I don't care too much about handhelds. But either way, very cool to have this in my collection because it was the only version that I was missing. This is very neat to have this. So thank you again to Henry for that and for helping me grow bigger man jugs because I really need those, as you can tell. Now, this next one is pretty cool. I'm very, very excited about this, and you'll see why in a second. Now, this was sent to me by a guy named Chris. Now, Chris contacted me in what is perhaps the worst way to get a hold of me. He contacted me through Twitter. I have a Twitter account. It's connected to my Facebook fan page account, so it does make posts, but I very, very rarely actually ever look at it. I maybe look at it once a month at best. It has to be certain conditions. It has to be the middle of the night. I have to have already looked at everything else on the internet. I have to be really, really bored. That is the only time I ever check my Twitter. Just by an amazing coincidence, he contacted me on Twitter, and the next day happened to be that kind of day. So I looked at it and saw his message. And he said, Adam, I have a piece of Shenmue-related merch that I doubt you have, and if you want it, I'm happy to send it to you. And as per usual, I said, like, are you sure? You don't have to do that. But if you insist, because, like, I admit it, I really wanted this thing. So I wasn't too resistant. I was pretty happy to have this sent out. So, yeah, it was weird, though. Like, I don't know how he knew I needed this. I have never done a video on my Shenmue collection. I know I talk about Shenmue a lot, but I very rarely show off what I have for it. If you're not aware, Shenmue is my favorite game of all time. It's a Dreamcast juggernaut game I absolutely love. God, I love it. Sorry, Mrs. Claus, don't listen to this part. I would fuck the shit out of that game if it was like a chick. Sorry again, Mrs. Claus. But anyway, yeah, so, very cool to have something like this that I've been looking for quite some time and was never able to actually get my hands on. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and share with you this lovely goodiness. Now he warned me this is incredibly well packed, so this is probably going to have a little bit of a jump cut here. It is Liberated. What is it? It is a Shenmue strategy guide. Now on the surface that may not seem like that big of a deal, but the thing is this guide is incredibly uncommon, and Chris knew that. He went on great length to explain that to me in this very nice letter he sent me with the guide. But in short, suffice it to say, what he goes on to explain, the reason it's so rare is this was a pre-order bonus when you bought it at Game, which is kind of like EB Games or GameStop here in North America. And that was the only way to get it. And his theory basically is that, first of all, they didn't make that many, and that most people who got it probably just tossed it out. So really the only people who have it are hardcore collectors. And he felt that it would be better off in my hands. And that was really cool of him to do because I was looking for this for a long time, and I just kind of assumed, I kind of gave up on it at a certain point. I never thought I'd actually get it. Well, you know, the funny thing is I never mentioned it in the video. I never said like, man, I'm really looking for this thing. He just knew, which is really, really crazy. So thank you to Chris for sending me this. That's really very awesome of you. Thank you. Now moving on, we have a package here from a guy named Ronald. Now you guys might remember him. He was actually in the previous unboxing video. Well, sort of. The one with Mrs. Claus. He sent me a giant package at the end of that video that was actually the host of 2 CDIs, the Philips CDI, that game console. He sent me 2 of them, 2 different models. And this package, in all honesty, I don't really remember much about. I think he mentioned wanting to send me this, like, right after he had sent the first one, but I was never sure if he actually did send it or not. And if he did, he might have sent it back in like December, and now it's actually here. So truth be told, I don't actually know what's in here. It only arrived like 2 days ago at the time I filmed this, and I know I could have just asked him, but I thought, what the hell, I don't really remember. Let's all find out together. That'll be a lot of fun. So that's what we're going to do. Ronald's a hell of a nice guy, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and see if perhaps when I start looking at the inside, if that kind of like jars my memory at all. Sorry about the jump cut. Ronald packaged this way too well. It was very difficult to get inside of it. So now that we are, let's take a look. And there might be more jump cuts here, I'm just guessing. The first thing I see is a box of candy, chocolate bananas. Ronald, did you send me a whole box of candy? Is that what this is? I know, like, thank you, Europeans. You're very kind, but you don't need to make our American man boobs bigger, really. I have no idea what that is. Sport gummy. I'm sure I'm going to totally butcher these pronunciations, as seems to be the tradition with anything that's sent to me that's not in English. Sorry, I'm an American. We don't know other languages. I don't even know. Manor Ween? Looks like wafers of some kind. So we got something that's very well packaged there. Again, sorry about the jump cut, but it was just too well packaged. So he apparently, what he had sent me now, I remember, he sent me a bunch of CDI games. CDI, of course, is Philips' failed console that was the result of a weird deal between, you know, Sony and Nintendo, and yeah, whatever. We could talk about that at another point, but apparently it did well. I'm not gonna say it did well, but it did better in Europe. So it seems like a lot of the games are more common over there. So he wanted to send me a few extra games. The first up was Tetris. Now this is funny because now I actually now own 2 copies of Tetris. I have this weirder like long box version of Tetris that looks like it's so well packaged and professional that it's judging you. It's odd, but that's how I feel. Nevertheless, probably one of the better games on the console actually is Tetris, believe it or not. Cool thing about it is that it uses like video capabilities of the console to have kind of like pretty background, so you feel like you're playing the game in the forest. I don't know, it's weird, but I guess they had to do something with that ability. So yeah, Tetris. Treasures of the Smithsonian. Looks like some sort of educational game, I'm sure. Escape from Cyber City. This is actually one of the games, I don't know much about any of these games, to be totally honest with you, but I do know, I looked into what are some of the more sought after games beyond like Hotel Mario and the Legend of Zelda games. Like games that anybody might recommend, because apparently the CDI is really slim pickings. But yeah, it looks like he sent me some of the ones that were higher recommended. Defender of the Crown. Little Devil, which I'm glad he sent me this one actually, because I almost bought this, so I'm glad I didn't buy it. Thank you, Ronald. And Inca. Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't know much about any of these games other than Tetris, obviously, but very cool to expand my CDI collection. I have Hotel Mario. I really want to get those Legend of Zelda games at some point. I know they suck, but it would just be cool to own the unholy Triforce. But yeah, thank you again to Ronald for that. And our final package here comes from Ireland. Now this one's actually been sitting here for quite some time. I think he sent this, this was sent to me by a guy named Steven, and I think he sent this back in like January. It arrived here in like early February 2015. So I feel bad for Steven because this package was just sitting here forever. But now we finally get to open it, and it'll be awesome. I'll get to show it all to you. Now what's funny about this up front, just looking at it, very clearly he sent this in a PS4 box. If I'm wrong, I'll be baffled, but it's got the handle, it's the exact same shape. If this isn't a PS4 box, I'll be astonished. Sorry about the jump cut there. This was proving really difficult to get out. I wasn't expecting that. It appears to be a PS4 box, but it only says PS4 on the back. It doesn't appear to like have any cover art or anything, so whatever. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and open it up and find out what's inside, courtesy of Steven. Lots of bubble wrap. First thing we see is a Japanese copy, of N64 copy of Pilot Wing 64. He never mentioned this. That's really, really cool. Thank you for that. A Japanese copy of Street Fighter 3 with Impact for the Sega Dreamcast. The fact that it says with Impact, I don't know what that means. If anybody out there actually knows, this is different anyway, I'd love to find out. Vampire Savior, which I think is a fighting game. Yes, it's definitely a fighting game. Very cool. Looks pretty sweet, actually. Zero Divide, The Final Conflict. This also appears to be a fighting game. Giant Graham 2000, All Pro Wrestling. This is All Japan Pro Wrestling 3. This is a Japanese exclusive Sega Dreamcast game. Real Bout, Fatal Fury Best Collection for the Sega Saturn. Japanese Sega Saturn, of course. A Japanese N64 copy of, I think this is Yoshi's Island. I'm pretty sure. If anybody's more sure of that, I'd love to know. It doesn't actually say on there in English, so I'm not sure, but it must be Yoshi's Island, right? Retro Core Sega Saturn Shooting Special. This appears to be, alright, well it says right on the back. Witness the Sega Saturn Shooting Special version 2. Over 100 games feature all in stereo with high-resolution picture quality direct from the Sega Saturn. The inside listings show the contents of each chapter of each DVD. This is a 2-disc DVD set, fan-made, that appears to just have lots of game footage, which is maybe trailers as well? I don't know, but that's very cool and very weird. Thank you. Beautiful Joe, A New Hope. This is very cool. Appears to be just some kind of a book that comes, a DVD book. Yeah, it's got a DVD in the back there. I don't know how well that's showing up. And on the inside, it's just got a lot of artwork and all sorts of cool stuff. That's really neat and very random. Groove on Fight for the Sega Saturn. Made by Atlas. It appears, based on the title and by a screenshot, it looks like to be some kind of fighting game, but I'm not sure if it's 2D fighting or if it's like action-adventure fighting, like perhaps like Streets of Rage type of thing. It looks more like a 2D fighter, though. Ragnagard for the Japanese Sega Saturn. This also appears to be a fighting game. Steven, I get the sense that you really like fighting games. Good thing, because I do too. And finally, a couple of Japanese PS2 games. The first one up is Chaos Field, The New Order. This was a shmup on the Sega Dreamcast, but it was just called Chaos Field. I don't know what the New Order part means. Either it's a sequel or it's got extra content or something. I'm sure one of you know out there, so I'd love to find out. This is a pretty cool game, so if it's a sequel or has more content, I'd love to know. Very cool. And finally, a game called Basara X Cross. As far as I can tell, that's the title. Mostly it's in Japanese. That's the only part I can read. And looks like a fighting game, probably a pretty good one. And yeah, very, very cool to get that. Steven really went all out here, man. Like, all he told me was, oh yeah, I got some Japanese Saturn games I don't want. If you want them, you can have them. Wow, he sent me a bunch of great stuff. It's very, very cool. Surprise, not quite done yet. I was in the editing room working on the video. And while I'm sitting there waiting for some footage to render, I notice another package, and I go, you idiot! So, yeah, there's one more. We're going to go ahead and open it up real quick. This was sent to me by a guy named John. He contacted me back in January after he watched some of the videos I did about a trip to Canada I took. When I was up there, I bought a copy of Mortal Kombat for the PlayStation 3, but like an idiot, I walked out of the store without the disc, and by the time I noticed, I was too far away from the store for it to be worth it. So he said, hey, you know, I've got the disc, I don't want it, I could just send it to you. And I said, you don't have to do that. He's like, ah, really, I'm never going to play this. So, sure enough, he sent it, and now I get to finally include it in the video, and I am very sorry for not doing that earlier. Now it says cut here on the top, so I'm guessing we should start there. So let's go ahead and do that. Inside, of course, we have the game, Mortal Kombat, which there seems to be other stuff, so let's go ahead and take it out. There is a little box, and there's this thing. if you like The Walking Dead, oh brother. Actually, truth be told, confession time, I have never watched The Walking Dead. I will, I swear I will. I know it's really good, that's what I hear from everyone. I'm waiting for the series to end first though, because I like to watch, once a show's complete, I like to watch the whole thing that way. But yeah, that's really cool. I'm sure I'm going to love this at some point. Here's Mortal Kombat. Here are some last minute items for you. I enjoy watching your videos. Keep up the good work, John. His channel is Knights626. I'll put it right there. But yeah, he included the whole game. I thought he was just going to give me the disc, but hey, that's really nice. But yeah, that's very cool. And thank you to John for that, because again, you really need to do that. He also included this, which I don't know what this is, so let's go ahead and find out. Well, let's see here. I don't want to damage this box, but okay, too late. It's damaged. Inside it is a bunch of bubble wrap. Ooh, check this out. This is a little Sonic figure and a Supersonic figure. It looks like you put them together. That's really cool. So thank you very much, John, and thank you to Steven and Ronald and Chris and Henry and Zack, as well as the evil Mrs. Claus for sending me this stuff. Thank you guys for watching, but seriously though, you don't have to send me things. It's very nice. I really do appreciate it, but you really don't have to do that. But nevertheless, thank you to all of them, and again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all later.